Hi, travelers. Tara here. This is election reading number 2. I want to apologize for bringing it to you so late in the evening this evening, but I've been spending the whole day in my yard standing around a cesspit, a sewage pit. I have a leak, a sewer line leak in my backyard. And so it's been quite the feat and quite the interesting thing. So that's why this is coming to you so late. So today's question, and I want to thank you guys who came underneath the video and who've been asking questions. The reading that I'm going to do today is the question is, will the Senate change hands? And I think this is an important question because, contrary to popular belief, the President of the United States writes no laws. All laws are written in the Senate and the House of Representatives, so the Congress. All of the laws for the country, that's where they're written, that's where they're voted on, that's where they're adopted, and then that's when they are instituted. The president just kind of rubber stamps stuff or vetoes stuff or whatever the case may be, but he doesn't write any laws. And I think it's important to get a handle on, if we can with the cards, on whether or not the Senate's going to change hands. The country got that first COVID-19 relief bill. We're coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there's still no relief for people. People aren't working. They've lost their jobs. There's food insecurity has skyrocketed. And remember back when, I want to say it was back at the beginning or the end of 2018 or 2019, the beginning of 2019, when they gave that big tax cut, and then everybody was like, yeah, I'm getting more money in my check. And then when tax time rolled around, they realized that they didn't get as much money back. Some people actually owed money. You were no longer able to claim things on your house. Well, yeah, we got screwed with that, us regular folk. And so I think it's important to see if the Senate is going to change hands, to see if anything's going to be done. Please do not think that things are going to go back to normal after COVID. Nothing will ever be normal or go back to the way that it was before. I've been reading articles where I think Microsoft just announced that their employees can work from home forever. So, companies are going to realize it's going to be cheaper to have people work from home. That way they can get rid of office buildings and don't have to pay so much overhead and space, or they can rent out that stuff to other people. Malls are going to go by the wayside. College is going to become so affordable because everybody's going to be taking classes online. Nothing is going to go back to the way it was before. And sadly, a lot of small businesses have folded and they will not be coming back. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what the cards may have to say in terms of whether or not the Senate's going to change hands. So let me turn the camera around. As I say, this is not just an election for a president. There's a lot riding on this. And trust me, we're not going to know who won the presidential election, I think, for perhaps maybe 3 weeks, maybe out to a month. I think it's going to be that contentious and that close. Okay. So I have with me today, you saw the question. I've already pre-shuffled the cards, so I'm going to put another small shuffle on these. The Senate, the laws that they write, the Congress, these are laws that affect us every day on an everyday level. Those federal laws anyway. And some of the federal laws are sometimes adopted by the states. What I've been seeing and what my guys have been showing me is that there's going to come a time in the near future when we will no longer have a president of the United States. The country will be run by groups of people like councils. Okay. When that is, I don't know, but that's what I'm being shown. So here we go. 4 cards down. We start with the overall energy card. It is the 5 of spheres, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the 5 of coins. Okay. The 9 of stars, which is, what did I tell y'all that was yesterday? I didn't have that yesterday, so I'll have to see. The Ace of Stars, and aces are always yeses, okay? In other words, the potential is there. Yes, the potential is there. And then we have the King of Swords, or the 13 I think that's the 13. Yeah, the 13 of moons. That's the King of Cups. So that's interesting. Huh. Now, what I see before I actually started reading the quatrains for this, what I see in this card is above this particular Pope, there is this depiction of Gemini. See it there? So remember yesterday, there's Mars. We see Mars there, Mars in Gemini. And so remember I was saying yesterday, the reading told us that Mercury is going to be dominant. Here, there is an Aries, the ram, above that Wheel of Fortune. Can you see the that light? Can you see the ram there? Okay. Well, let's get to the quatrains. We will start with the overall energy, which is the five of spheres. And again, like I said, I should know these suits, but I don't. Okay, so the spheres does represent pentacles. That's kind of makes sense. The stars represent swords. So I have 1, 2 swords, and then a cup card. Okay. So this is the actual doing of something. The swords are the thinking, communication, beliefs, ideas, those kinds of things. And then the cups is the emotional quotient. So we start with the 5 of spheres. Keep hoping I'm going to hear from my dentist soon, because I have a lisp from hell. Okay, so the 5 of spheres, the suit, and the quatrain says, one second. The sublime form, invisible to the naked eye, will be veiled by obsessive thoughts. Now, I am not exactly sure if this is speaking about the idea of people being obsessed with maintaining their positions and maintaining their positions of authority and or power. But basically, it says that the card is associated with loss, destitution, and penury. But some of the earliest accounts suggest it was intended to represent individual struggle, or the struggle to survive and to create a good life. Well, there you have it. Okay. So we move now to the suit of stars. And we have the 9 of stars. So I would take it that, that's kind of where it is. Everybody's like in an uproar. Nobody knows exactly what's going on. From the human herd, 9 will be set aside, denied judgment and counsel. Now, as far as I know, there are 5 seats up for grab in order for the Democrats to take control of the Senate. So I'm not sure if that's a reference that says that there are going to be 9 seats taken by the Democrats, or maybe they're going to lose some seats. I'm not sure. Okay. The Ace of Stars. Ignorant jealousy is upheld before the great king. He will propose a defense of the writings. Well, that's interesting. This card favors an intellectual response rather than an emotional one. In most instances, it indicates the need to strip away worn out ideas to reveal the truth at the heart of the matter. And finally, the Master of Moons. So this is our King of Cups. Wow. The anger and the chief will put forth their hands to the king. The augur and the chief will put forth their hands to the king. From the king will come a peaceful emperor. Huh. This card is supposed to represent Paracletus, the philosopher. and the founder of modern pharmacopoeia. And his approach, it speaks about his approach to healing. That he was in and out of favor with the courts of Europe, occasionally being forced to flee, as when he publicly burned the words of the great classical doctors Galen and Avenza. This king represents honesty and integrity, fair dealing, and a kindly nature. The papal figure has removed his triple crown and looks with care upon the sheep gathered at his feet. Well, if we kind of look at that as the body of the Congress, I think the answer is yes. However, I want to understand what the word augur means. I know this. It's Auger. Augury is the practice of divination using animal entrails. So let's see what an augur means, what this means. Augur. The definition. The augur and the, hold on, because it's giving me a whole bunch of tools. Definition. This is Old French. The knave, the definition. Let's see. Let me just get definition, because that's Old French. I just want to see what that means. We do know that Nostradamus was French. So, is it augur, A-U-G-U-R? Wait a minute. Perhaps I have it spelled wrong, which is why it's not coming up. Somebody knows what this means, please let me know. That was the Master of Moons. The Master of Moons. Hold on, let me find the moons for you. There it is, here it is, here we go. Yeah, A-U-G-E-R. The augur. The Old French is spelled with a U, I believe. Now, this was ancient Rome augurs predicted the future of reading the flight of birds. A verb. Let me see if I can. This is a diviner of ancient Rome, or one held to foretell secrets and omens, to give a promise of. But this is the A-G-U-R and not the E-R. So I'm not exactly sure if this is a, because it says the augur, the way that it's spelled, A-U-G-E-R, is any various tools or devices with the helical shaft or parts that are used for boring holes, such as in wood, soil, or ice, or moving loose material. And then they have an example of what augurs look like. So I don't understand why the augur is going to stretch out his hands to the king. I think that's what it says. That's quite a interesting kind of a. The augur and the chief will put forth their hands to the king. From the king will come a peaceful emperor. So let me check my book of symbols and see if there's a meaning, a secondary meaning in here, because I'm unable to find it. As here is augury. All right, and all they mention is augury. And as I said, the augurs were the sole authorized interpreters of the will of God. In exceptional circumstances, recourse would be made to a college of priests who interpreted the will of heaven from an examination of the intestines of sacrificial animals. The augurs took the auspices in the name of the Republic by studying the flights of birds and watching their behavior. The augur is generally depicted wearing a red robe with a crown on his head, holding his augural staff. So this is definitely a person. They are all-powerful and infallible interpreter of the messages of the gods written in the skies. The augur symbolizes the predominance of the spiritual over the rational. He reads the invisible by means of visible signs in the heavens. The augur has seen, read, and spoken and must be obeyed. Well, whatever this outcome, whatever this card is referring to, it says that both this individual, the augur, and the chief will stretch out their hands to the king, and from him will come a peaceful emperor. Well, I don't know if that's referring to a new leader of the Senate, a new leader of the Congress, but I would dare say that, given here with the card of loss right over the top, that yes, the Senate will change hands. This card. And what that will mean going forward is perhaps there are going to be some new changes to the law. There may be even some new amendments, things. I wish they would get rid of the Electoral College. What's the purpose of us voting if the president is elected by Electoral College? Those are representatives sent to represent the will of each state. Well, maybe that person doesn't represent what I want them to do. So perhaps that could be something that may be changing if the Congress changes hands. They said that back in the Bush-Gore, I forget what year, 1980 something. Same thing, a very contentious election. It all came down to the hanging chads in Florida. And finally, the Supreme Court had to decide. So the Supreme Court decided that George Bush was the winner of that election. And then Al Gore conceded. So there was talk back then of the Electoral College, of changing that system of vote. Why do we go to the polls and hold a popular vote if our vote is not what's used to elect the president? So maybe these are things that the new Senate can take up. From the human herd, 9 will be set aside, denied judgment and counsel. Well, it says that the papal figure balancing the 3 aspects of the world, the branch of peace, the sword of war, and then the key to the spiritual path. Well, that's quite interesting. So there you have it. My answer is yes, the Senate will change hands. I don't know if this final card here is referring to the new leader of the Congress or the new leader of the Senate. I have no clue who that would be. I don't know since I feel that that it is going to change hands, I'm going to say they're going to at least get the 5 seats that they need. They may get more, but I'm going to say they at least get the 5 seats they need, perhaps even 9. And maybe this is a branch of peace. Maybe that new leader of the Congress, if Donald Trump wins, is the person who's going to have to go up and try to make peace with the king. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. And so that's what I have for you. I hope you found that interesting. Thank you so much for hanging around and kind of waiting if you've been waiting. And so I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll be with the plumbers tomorrow, but I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Until then, namaste.